Hello guys, welcome to day 3 of reactjs tutorial. In the previous video, we have set up our development environment into our system and I hope you all have installed Visual Studio into your system. From today, I was starting creating our React app, but what I think before starting creating a React app, what if we can just refresh some of the concepts of JavaScript? And for that I came up this video. So today I will just brush up some of the key concepts of JavaScript which will again help us in understanding some of the basic concept of React.js. So first of all, we will understand what is let and const. So let and const are nothing but these are the keywords which are used to create different variables. And as we know, we already have a var keyword to create multiple variables in JavaScript. But as we go ahead and we got a next generation JavaScript, we got two other keywords named as let and const. So using these keywords let and const, we can also create new variables in JavaScript. But the main difference between this let and const is let is used when we have to assign a variable values to the variable. But instead of that, const is used when we have to assign a constant value to a variable. It means if we don't want to change a value of our variable later point of time, so in that case we will use a const variable. Let and var both are kind of similar, but in upcoming videos and to create React apps we will mostly use let. So let's understand these two variables let and const and the difference between these three variables using some examples. So I am using here JS Bean. This is kind of a web editor where we can run our HTML code, JavaScript code, and we can directly see output of our JavaScript code directly into the console. So I will first enable the JavaScript, disable the HTML, and we will see our output directly into the console. Okay, let's first create a simple variable where we will give name, any name we can give. Let's see, my variable equals to, we will assign any value to it. Let's say mark. We will console this value my var. Let's just clear the console and run this again. So it will give us mark in the console as our output. Now in the same way, we can create variable using a let keyword. Let's just clear the console and run it again. So it will again give us the same result as mark in the console. Okay. Now let's understand the difference between const and let. Let's suppose we create one const variable. Okay. My variable. And after creating my variable, we will assign different value to our variable. Let's suppose we will give mark, or we will change mark to mark 1, and we will console our variable, and let's just run this. So it will give us the error, that is assignment to constant variable. So this is the difference between let and const, that if we assign a value to our constant variable, and if we change that value later point of time, so JavaScript will not allow to change the value of our constant variable. But in case of let, we will see, so it is possible. So this is the main difference between let and const. That is, let, in case of let, we can reassign the value or change the value of our variable later point of time also, but in const we cannot change the value of our variable. So I hope you are clear with let and const and difference between these two keywords. So next concept is arrow function. So this is again one of the important feature of JavaScript. So previously, if you want to define any function, so we can define or create any function using this function keyword, function, and then we will just give the function name, bracket and curly braces, and inside that curly braces we will define our function. But next gen JavaScript introduce new functions, or we can say we can define function in a different way, that is nothing but the arrow function. As you can see here, the syntax to define a function as compared to our traditional function definition is different. Here we have used const, and then after we have given the name of our function, and after that equals to, and then bracket, and after that we have given equals to and greater than symbol, that is nothing but our arrow. So this makes our arrow function. Here we have used const. You can use let as well instead of const. So this is how we can create arrow function. So to understand the benefit of arrow function, we will again come towards our JS bin, and let's just define one function or create one function. I will just disable the auto run so that it will not disturb us. Okay, function myfunc, we will console anything. Let's suppose our function contain one parameter, name, and we will console that name, and we will call this function myfunc by passing any name. We will run it, so it will console us as a mark. Here we call our function myfunc, and we will pass one parameter as mark, so this value will go as a parameter for our my function, and it will console the name. So now let's create arrow function, and as we saw in the syntax, we can create arrow function using const, or we can use let as well. Const myfunc, after that equals to, then bracket, then equals to greater than symbol. Okay, and here this bracket is nothing but, in this bracket we can pass our parameter, just like we had in normal function. In the bracket we can pass the parameters, so here in arrow function as well we can pass the parameters in this bracket. So here we will pass name, and we will run this. Okay, just clear the console and now run it again. Yeah, okay, so as you can see here, it will again give us the same results that we had from our old function. So the next thing I want to show you, that if we have only one single parameter, then we can directly give this parameter without using the bracket. Yeah, as you can see, it gives us the same results. So this is again one of the great thing using arrow function. But this is not true if we have multiple parameters. Let's suppose we have two parameters, name and let's suppose age, and we pass age, and if we run it, so it will give us a syntax error, as you can see. So to assign two parameters to arrow function, we have to give the brackets. After that only we can use the parameter inside arrow function. Multiple time what happen, the function itself returns some value. Let's suppose we have any number and we will return that number multiply by 2. That number multiply by 2, and we will console that value. We call our function inside the console and we will pass that number. Let's suppose we pass 4 here and we'll run it. So yeah, it will give as 4 into 2, nothing but 8. So here the benefit of arrow function is, instead of using this return statement, we can directly return that single line. So we can return that single line value directly without using this return statement and these curly brackets. Let's run it. So yeah, as you can see, it gives us same output as we had previous, and we can again remove the brackets for our parameter because we have only single parameter, and if we run it, it gives us the same output. So this is the beauty of our arrow function, that it will optimize our code and it will make our code much more readable. So with this we came up to the end of this video.